It's time for the news. Let's do it. Sean Diddy Combs, yes, old Diddy, has admitted to beating his ex-girlfriend Cassie. He has said he is sorry and calls his actions inexcusable. This is what the diddler, as people call him. They've actually started calling this man the diddler, and I can't get enough of it, but this is what the diddler had to say about him getting caught beating his girlfriend.
So difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom.
Forgive me for the language. I didn't know that was in there.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
That was the diddler, Sean Diddy Combs, apologizing for attacking his girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a 2016 video. Now, the reason he's done that is because new surveillance footage showed, that was released by CNN, showed the diddler physically assaulting his girlfriend, Cassie, in March of 2016. So, well, I mean, it was March of 2016. Obama was still in office, so he thought he could probably get away with it. You know what I mean? We got a black president. He probably thought he could get away with beating up his girlfriend before Trump got in office. Now, Ventura, Cassie, she filed a lawsuit against him in 2023 alleging rape and repeated abuse, but that case was swiftly settled. We talked about it when it happened. Now, you hear the diddler doing all this sort of performative, and I say it's performative because he called her a liar. He absolutely called her a liar. He said none of the allegations were true, and only once he could no longer hide what he did he come out and say, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. I'm sorry. And also notice on the video, at no point does he apologize to the woman he assaulted. He assaulted Cassie, but at no point does he say the woman's name and say, I am sorry to you, which is exactly who he should be apologizing to. So I'm not buying it. What do you guys think? Give me a call if you do think he's sincere. Give me a call, 219-885-1371. I don't think he's sincere. I'm sorry. I don't. Like I said, if he was truly sincere, if he was truly disgusted with himself, if he truly was all that he said and got help, he would not have been slandering this woman's name out in the streets just a few months ago when she brought it up. All the horrible things he did to her. So, you know, I was never a big fan of the diddler. You know, I've gone in depth. You might want to look through the archives, my archive, Scott Cannon, WLTH. I guess I'll post I'll post a link to it. I went pretty deep in depth at his role in the Tupac and Biggie situation. and how Puffy for many years has escaped the type of scorn that Suge Knight got by pretending to be such this innocent person when really Diddy is as responsible as anybody for Tupac and Biggie no longer being here. So I will definitely post a link to that video. I guess I'll post it in the Facebook. I guess if you go to the Facebook page, I guess during the break or something, I'll try to find the link and post it from that video. But for her part, Cassie Ventura, she broken her silence on this video that showed her being physically assaulted by Diddy. She expressed gratitude for the support she's receiving from family, friends, strangers, and is emphasizing the importance of addressing domestic violence. She highlighted the impact of love in creating a safe space for her to heal, but acknowledged her ongoing journey of recovery. She urged everyone who believed to believe and support victims of domestic violence, offering a helping hand to those in fear. She said, "Thank you for all the love and support from my family, friends, and strangers, and those I have yet to meet." And she would later say, "Domestic violence is the issue. It broke me down to someone I never thought I would become." She also said that she is better now, but will always be recovering from the past. She said, "My only ask is that everyone open your heart to believing victims for the first time. It takes a lot of heart to tell the truth out of a situation that you were powerless in." She urged people to never bear burdens alone and said her healing journey would never end, even with support. Now, look, I'm not going to be the guy to throw dirt on domestic violence victims or just victims in general. But the way we talk about domestic violence, I definitely have a problem with. She says, "Open your heart to believing victims the first time." And to me, I don't think the issue is whether people believe or don't believe. For me, domestic violence is a legal issue. The police and investigators should investigate everything. I don't think the emphasis should be on the public to believe somebody just because they said it, whether it's a male or a female, because we've seen in instances in the past where even women have not told the truth about rape, about sexual assault. Remember Duke Lacrosse? How he wanted to go and lynch all those white boys from Duke University in, I think that was 2004, 2005, somewhere in that range. And turns out that the stripper was just crazy and lied on those boys. And we wanted to believe her because she was black and they were white dudes from Duke and they were privileged. That I learned an extremely valuable lesson from Duke Lacrosse. I really did. I'm very I'm grateful for that experience because that was when I was really a blackety black type. You know what I'm saying? You guys know blackety black. And I was just so ready to believe everything this sister said just because she was black, and I was ready to believe everything she said about those dudes because first of all, we all hated Duke because Duke was is the face of white privilege and money and all that other stuff. And it turns out they were 100% innocent. And so I realized at that moment, you can't trust anybody 100% of the time. There's no such thing as 100% believe in anybody. Whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're Hispanic, whether they're male, whether they're female. You know, unless somebody's in your family or you can 100% vouch for them, I don't think you're 100% obligated to believe anybody just because they made an accusation. And then obviously you have situations like very recently, Travis Rudolph was this football player, this black football player from Florida State. I used to watch him back in the day at Florida State. And he got into a relationship with a young sister and something happened. He did not want to commit to her in a relationship. And so she actually told her brother and her brother's friends that he had beat her. She lied. And her brother and his friends went to go confront this man, went to go kill this man, and he actually killed, I think, 1 or 2 of them. And it comes out in the trial that the whole thing started in a lie. The whole thing started when she falsely said that he beat and assaulted her when he didn't. He just didn't want to be in a relationship with her no more. So you have to be careful. You know, you have to be careful. What we need to exacerbate and encourage is investigation. Ladies, if a man is putting his hands on you, go to the police right then and there. Ladies, if a man is sexually assaulted you, go to the police right then and there. Don't wait 10 years. Don't wait 5 years. Don't wait 3 years. Don't wait 3 months. When he puts his hands on you in a way you don't want, go directly to the police station. And we, as a society, have to hold the police accountable and these investigators accountable and make them do their job and vet all these stories, and then we could get more actual rapists behind closed doors. But yeah, I see a lot of this sort of believe all women types, the Me Too, and we're going to talk about the downside of Me Too and Time's Up and believe all women too. I'm going to definitely do a segment on that in the upcoming future, because obviously we know there's lots of degenerate men out there who put their hands on women and abuse women. But there have been women who've legitimately just lied on men. That happens too. I don't care if you say it happens sparingly. It happens enough. And I'm seeing too many women, especially too many black women, who are arguing that we as a society have to give them carte blanche to get anybody they want lynched. Whether it's in the legal system or it's what happened with Travis Rudolph, where your brother and his friends goes to try to institute some justice on a guy that beat his girlfriend, his sister up. No. Too many women want to be Carolyn Bryant. Do you know who Carolyn Bryant is? Carolyn Bryant was the white woman who accused Emmett Till of sexually assaulting her. And when she said that, all her husband, I think, and her brother and some other people went and rounded up a lynch mob of people. And they went and lynched. They grabbed Emmett Till out of his bed. He was staying with some relatives in Mississippi, and they lynched that boy, 14 years old. That's what happens when you start saying, well, what if it was your sister? What if it was your daughter? What if it was your mother or your girl, your wife or whatever? That's how that happens. Every time you saw those type of high profile lynchings, Black Wall Street, Rosewood, those massacres, all those racial massacres that happened in all this country started the same exact way. What if it was your sister? What if it was your daughter? What if it was your wife or girlfriend? And then a whole lynch mob of people get ginned up and want to go lynch somebody. And then want to go burn down a whole neighborhood or a whole community full of people. So no, we just can't believe anybody and everybody just because they say they're a victim. We have to normalize investigation. If the police are not doing their jobs, then we got to get new police or better police or punish them for not doing their jobs. But you just can't believe anybody and everybody. You know, I feel for Cassie. I never said the woman was lying. I see a lot of the discourse about this topic too is that well, nobody believed Cassie. Lots of people believed Cassie. I'm not seeing all these. I mean, like, I'm sure there's random idiots on the internet and maybe a ignoramus here or there, but virtually everybody in hip hop considers Diddy the devil. Like, you can literally see interviews with his bodyguard, Big Gene, talking about how he used to abuse his mother and his other baby mamas. You can see artists who used to be on Bad Boy Records, P. Diddy's record label, writing books called Dancing with the Devil. Like, Diddy's arguably considered the most evil guy ever in hip-hop. He's right there with Suge Knight. Probably more evil in most people's minds than Suge Knight at this point. So I didn't see the people that didn't believe. I did see a lot of people say, you know, we need to wait for evidence, which is the correct stance to take. Don't let these people with an agenda scare you out of being level-headed and clear thinking and objective. If somebody makes an accusation, there should be evidence and proof involved. And we should encourage everybody involved to do what it takes to preserve the evidence and proof. Like I said, we need to start allowing women to go to the police department immediately. If something's happened to you, immediately. Men too, whoever's being abused, kids. If you've been abused, call the police immediately. Don't wait till you get grown to want to call somebody and say somebody did something to me. I know it's scary. I understand that. I'm not saying it's not. But we can't be a society that completely abandons burden of proof, man. The legal system is literally built on innocent until proven guilty. So, you know, again, I feel bad for the woman. I really do. I hope she's doing everything in her power to heal. I really hope that the people around her are supporting her. She seems to have a very supportive husband and family now. So that seems to be a good thing for her. I wish her all the best. But as you guys know, when these type of situations happen, whether it's Diddy or Cosby or Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, whoever, you know what's next after the initial accusation. Here come a bunch of other accusations out of the woodwork. So now, just this week, another woman named Crystal McKinney has accused Sean Diddy Combs of sexual assaulting her at his NYC recording studio in 2003. Now, McKinney is a former model, and she alleged that she met Combs at a restaurant during Men's Fashion Week in Manhattan. The lawsuit described McKinney finding Combs and other men drinking and smoking cannabis when she arrived at their studio. The lawsuit, filed Tuesday in federal court in New York City, stated that Crystal McKinney, who was then a 22-year-old rising model, met him through an unnamed fashion designer in 2003 and was later sexually assaulted at his music studio. The designer allegedly styled McKinney to ensure Combs found her attractive and brought her to meet the rapper at Cipriani Downtown, a restaurant in New York City. During the dinner, McKinney alleged Combs outwardly made a number of flirtatious and sexually suggestive remarks toward McKinney and plied her with alcohol. The music artist then reportedly gave McKinney his number and later in the evening asked her to come to his studio in the city, per the suit. Upon the arrival, she met Combs and a group of men who were passing around alcohol and marijuana joints. And I see, that's where she went wrong right there. Look, I know, again, you know, you're not supposed to criticize victims, but ladies, if I got a daughter, if I got a sister, I've definitely got to tell her, look, you don't go nowhere with a bunch of men smoking and drinking and partying and you by yourself. I'm sorry, you don't do that. I mean, it's one thing if it's a whole crew of y'all together, you got a whole bunch of people with you, they got a whole bunch of people with them, and that's one thing. But you going to she said that he was being flirtatious and sexually suggestive throughout their encounter, throughout their dinner that they had at this restaurant, where she was set up by a designer. And at this point, they apparently, when he plied her with alcohol, they left and he gave her his number. And so she came to the studio later. You know, again, I'm not saying she's did anything wrong. I'm not saying that she's not a victim. Please don't take my words out of context in saying that. But you have to understand what's going on. You have to be aware of your surroundings at all times, folks. You have to take steps in your life to not be a victim. We all do. I grew up here in the city of Gary. I was just talking to somebody about this not too long ago. I grew up during the crack era, during the 80s and 90s, right here in Gary. I grew up in a time of great gang, a lot of gang wars and everything else. Gangster disciples, vice lords, all that during the 90s. A lot of my friends were gangster disciples. A lot of my friends were vice lords. And I knew very well there were certain colors I could not wear in certain parts of the city. There were certain things I couldn't wear in certain parts of the city. And I followed the dress code the best that I could. That's one reason why I started wearing black all the time. Because it was a lot simpler. White and black, I should be okay. So I had to take certain steps to not be victimized. Now, does that mean that that if I wasn't doing that, it'd be okay to victimize me? No. But we all have to take some responsibility for protecting ourselves the best that we can. We can't ever do anything to 100% stop us from being victims. But we can not put a target on our forehead and be like, hey, look at me, I'm a victim. There are things I could have worn that made me put a target on me. And so I didn't wear those things. And there's certain places I didn't go where I'd have been more likely to be victimized. I know this ain't my neighborhood. I don't know these dudes. I don't know these dudes. This ain't my hood. This ain't my environment. So I'm going to avoid this place. And I think that society has lied to women, especially younger women in the sort of post-sexual revolution, post-feminist society, where we sort of lied to these women and we make them think that they could just do whatever they want and nothing will ever happen to them because they're free now. Just like a lot of black people have this false perception that, hey, we're free now. We don't have to worry about anything. Wrong. Wrong. It's still America, dummy. You know what I'm saying? This is still America and you still black. Okay? There's a lot of places 10 minutes from right here in this radio station, 10, 20 minutes, driving outside of Gary city limits, I am not trying to be. Does that mean it'd be my fault if something happened to me in those places? No, but I ain't about to test it. I ain't about to chance it. That's called taking responsibility on some level for what you're doing. Unfortunately, again, you know, so she meets up with Puff Diddy or Papa Diddy or the Diddler. I'm going with the Diddler from here on out. Upon arrival, she met the Diddler and a group of men who were passing around alcohol and marijuana joints. She was passed a joint under the impression it was marijuana, but later came to understand it was laced with a narcotic or intoxicating substance, the lawsuit states. She soon became very intoxicated, and Combs allegedly forced himself on her in a bathroom. He led her back to the studio where she lost consciousness and woke up in a taxi cab headed towards the fashion designer's apartment, the lawsuit states. Wow. She also filed suit against the rapper's record label, Bad Boy Entertainment, and the label's distributor, Universal Music Group, and his fashion brand, Sean John Clothing. So, I mean, like I said, this is all bad here. This is all bad right here. I mean, obviously, if the Diddler did this, he needs to pay. There needs to be a price, a punishment to pay. But also, we have to start educating these young women that you just can't, you just should be going like up into places where there's a bunch of men passing drugs around. You definitely shouldn't be partaking in that, especially when you by yourself and you ain't got a whole crew of people watching your back. That's not smart. That doesn't mean that you can't be a victim. That don't mean that somebody victimized you shouldn't go to jail. But it does mean that we all gotta do a better job instilling you with the ability to know what's going on. Let me get this caller. Hello, caller.
Yeah, I'm enjoying your show, young man. I'm listening at you, and like you're saying, a lot of people don't use what they call common sense.
Right.
Now, she knows you're looking at a celebrity, P. Diddy. Oh, he actually came up and spoke to me. And then you're going to get an invitation to come somewhere you've never been, and you walking in, people passing around marijuana and drinks and stuff. What else do you think going to happen in there? You in there by yourself, common sense, you know, and you don't think something's going to happen to you, then something happened to you. What is it, 3-4 years later, you want to tell somebody about it, you know, because they looking at what now?
Yeah, this is 21 years ago.
Yeah, you looking at what now? Money. Cha-ching. I want to get as they call it, revenue for what happened to me back then. Like you said, if you kept it to yourself that long, keep it to yourself now. You let that guy get away with what he did back then, and don't need to tell somebody about it now. But I'm checking you out. But you find a lot of people with their little children like that. Let these kids go to different things and places where they shouldn't be, where they should be supervised or whatever. Then something happened to them. My baby, I want to know what happened to him. Well, how come you weren't there? Some adult was there to watch what had happened to him.
Right.
Or what wouldn't happen to him. So,
right.
Like, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Right. Thank you for your call, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. We didn't do a good job, I think, of particularly telling young people for a few generations now. Like I said, so many people believed, I think, with the 60s and the 70s, with the sort of civil rights movement and with the women's movement, that they were free and that the consequences were no longer going to happen because, you know, we live in a fair society, and that's just not the case. Let me get this other caller. Hello, caller.
Yes, Scott, I agree with you, too. I'm like the other gentleman. I agree. I do agree because, you know, I think about this. You being by yourself, why would you do that? What was in your mind?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
And I can't figure that out. Now, why would you do that in your, I know you got to be, and I know you had to know about this guy. And then you're going to go up in there knowing what, no, I think right now they're just looking for a payday. Sometimes I just think that some of these women are just looking for some money. Because you, like the gentleman said, you kept it to yourself all that time, then keep on keeping it to yourself. All right, but you know what, Scott, I wanted to tell you this. I really appreciate your show because you really do a lot of research for your show.
Well,
I really
thank you so much. I do my best.
I really do. I thank you.
I do my best. Thank you for calling.
Okay, bye-bye.
It's all good. Yeah, like I said, I think we've got to get back to not letting young people get so comfortable that they think that they are invincible, that nothing can happen to them. It's just not, it just won't end well. Like, to this day, there's still places around this city I ain't about to walk around in, especially at night. Again, I'm not so comfortable that I think I can just walk anywhere and do anything without anything happening to me. That's just not realistic. But a lot of people, particularly a lot of young people, do believe that, and that is because we as a society stop telling young people, especially young women, that they got to be careful. You got to be careful. Always have people with you. Don't put your drink down. Don't take no strange drinks from anybody, especially a man. Don't go off with nobody, especially a man. I mean, these were all things that I think used to be pretty standard. Things that people told. Again, that doesn't mean that you can't be a victim, but there are things you can do to lessen your chances of being a victim. That's me. That's you. That's everybody listening to this. or watching on the internet. Just is what it is. All right, folks. When we come back, we're going to get into that time one of our presidents actually helped give a lot of people AIDS and hepatitis. That, you know, yeah. Y'all say I do my research. I certainly do. This was this was very illuminating to research. I will say that. We'll be right back after these.